Around September 1970, I came here to Los Alamitos High School, and for the next 5 years, poured myself into the school and the students. When I came to Los Alamitos High School, program was not in good shape. The previous teacher had, during Christmas vacation, taken his life. And the kids were devastated. So I came to Los Al and began to think, how can I build this program?
Just first impression was that he himself was sort of a force of nature, but yet I sensed a lot of empathy, that he really felt for us and really wanted to be a transition and then begin to build a really exciting program.
First thing we did, I went through the library with 8 or 10 students who had been there. And I want to know, have you ever seen or heard this song? And if they said yes, that song was toast. If they said no, I kept it.
One of the things that was really fun about him was that he was bringing a bit of the performance side, not just academic music education, but as a performer, he was really bringing the fun of playing and singing out in the community. And I think our mood and our response was really positive, and we were really wanting what he was bringing.
We had 12 guys in the choir, about 35, 40 gals. I wasn't happy with 12 guys. Got to have more than that. So the coaching staff at Los Al had several people that I knew. And some of them I'd gone to high school with, some I'd gone to college with. And so I was interested in them. And so after school, I would maybe once or twice a week be out there on the football field. I decided that a good strategy would be to find out who are the key people on the football team. Get a couple of those guys in here, and that will help me break down the perception that music is not for guys. And so I remember occasionally I would, now I know some of these athletes, call them by name, they say hi to me on campus, they're not in the choir, but they know me from being out on the field. And I would finally decide, okay, who am I gonna go after? And I would pick on that person. I'd say, I'm the coach of singing, Doretti's the coach of football. I can do singing just as well as he does football. And I want you to know that if you chose to come in the choir, it would be an experience that you would relish for the rest of your life. But there's another ingredient about being in the choir. I've got all the cutest girls in the school in my class.
Mr. Frank had the ability to cross gender and cross status, if I could use that word. He could befriend the jocks, the wall people, which were the not so good kids, the geeks, the nerds, the normal kids. He loved them all, and he would walk right up to their little circles and begin to talk with them. And then he'd say, come on, join me. We have so much fun in choir. You have to come and see what we're doing in there. And they would. That's what was so great about him, and it was like the Pied Piper.
Sophomore year, I was in the orchestra. He said if I'd like to have a vocal experience. And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot, because the girls in the choir were a lot prettier than the viola section.
The way Fred taught and ran his choirs was more of a competitive sport, actually, I think, than most choir directors would. I know that he took a lot of our choirs to competitions, including up against college choirs, because he was confident that we could kick their butts.
One year, he decided to break the chorus up into 3 parts. And so he picked 3 team captains. And at the end, there were going to be, I think, about 10 different competitions. We'd have football games against each other, basketball, swimming. They had a belly flop contest that was a part of that, chess. So it allowed everybody to participate and have a social element to that. And that, of course, had the camaraderie that improved the musicality of the group, too.
One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they come raising the sound, boy, in a tent, telling a tent. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Ding dong, ding dong, day is long. Ding dong, ding dong, day is long. Ding on this end, on without him. Dear jungle tone to every home. On this end, on without him. Their jungle tone to every home.
In the summer between 10th grade and 11th grade, I learned to play the guitar. And when I came back to school, I started meeting other guys that played the guitar, which was great. And we formed a band, and we started playing around the school. And for the spring concert in my 11th grade year, Mr. Frank asked our band to play. And I think it was kind of a plan, because I remember him asking me after the concert, after we did our song, he said, you know, you really should join the choir. And sure enough, I did join the choir my senior year.
I remember very well the first time I went in and sang for him, because I didn't really even know if I could sing. Where is love? Does it fall from skies above? And I remember when I finished singing, he said, you have a voice in there.
He said to be able to hear what you see on the page and to be able to write what you hear was his qualification for a musician, right? So he would encourage all his singers to be musicians, and that way he had a stronger choir, and you know, he was a great teacher.
We never called Mr. Frank Fred, but he did have a nickname. We called him Ferd, and he would answer to that, and it was all in fun. Rehearsal with Mr. Frank was work. He expected you to know your stuff. That was great. I mean, it wasn't easy sometimes because some of the music was challenging, but we really rose to the task, and he really made us believe that we could do it. But also, Mr. Frank was really fun, and so he brought the fun out in the work. I think it was the first time I ever learned that you can work really hard and have fun at the same time, and it really changed my life.
Being in that group was great fun. There was a lot of camaraderie. There was a lot of warmth. We had rehearsals at 7 a.m. before school started at 8. Right from the beginning, Fred had a very disciplined approach to performing, to singing. He taught us how to mark our music and how to be professional, even at that age, how to conduct yourself.
And Fred really made it interesting. He would be playing music in the morning when we'd come in for choir rehearsal, and he'd play all kinds of different music. He'd play jazz and jazz choral groups, and it introduced us to a lot of different kinds of music that we would not have normally heard. And then we started singing some of that type of music.
But I remember teaching them right from the beginning things that stimulated them. I was always looking for something that wasn't typical, that I could make it a teaching tool, but make it fun that they could get involved with.
I especially loved when Fred let us sing jazz or pop arrangements, because although we did classical, it was really fun to do those as well.
I remember another song that Henry Mancini gave me, Frankie and Johnny were lovers, or something like that. But he had an arrangement that was really cool. We didn't do it the first year, but when the choir got stronger musically, they were capable of doing this. Frankie came home one evening a little bit early, and she thought, and it told this story, and it was fun, and it was entertaining, and the kids loved it because it wasn't typical choral music. Find something, you know, they can get excited about.
Fred had the jumbo box of crayons to show all the different colors. You know, some people will just stay in the basic 8, and with Fred it was just a whole canvas.
We really did in this choir feel like he could take us places and make us feel like we were movie stars or somebody really important. But we went to Disneyland one year and sang in the choir there for the holiday, right there at the train station. And Cary Grant was the narrator that year, and to just be in his presence was incredible.
And so we were backstage after the big rehearsal, and here comes Cary Grant saying hello to everybody, and I thought, wow, this is one of my first big performances, and it's with Cary Grant.
And again, we just thought, this man, Mr. Frank, just knows everybody.
And everything that he did in the classroom was not like an educator. It was a lot about performance and how to really sell a song and how to really have a feel for the lyrics. And It was totally different than a straight music educator.
Once he brought me and a friend of mine who was visiting from Ohio to a studio where he was a backup singer. And we had a chance to watch that, which was really amazing.
To see how he worked, and now that was fascinating. He practiced what he preached, and to watch him in action was just increased my respect for him.
Fred wasn't real big on bragging about his accomplishments. He would let things slip out about this movie or that movie he had worked on. You'd find out about his background in bits and pieces. He didn't wear it on his sleeve. He wasn't there to impress you with it. But sometimes it was a reference point for what he was trying to teach.
I cannot conceal it. Fa la la, so I must reveal it. Fa la la, fa la 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 la.
Yeah, there's been a lot of time and a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts, a lot of events, experiences, relationships that developed and were formed, and I'm happy for those days.
I think people go into teaching for a lot of different reasons, and I think the ones that do it the best are the ones that are like Mr. Frank. He would, somehow encourage you and inspire you to challenge yourself.
He expects so much out of you. You sometimes feel like you're falling short, But I don't think that's annoying as far as, it comes back to me then.
Without a doubt, Fred was a big influence in going, well, I want to be like him. I want to do what he does. I want to go into a group and, when the class is over, it's not like, okay, there's another lesson done. No, when that class is over, then you walk away saying, okay, we made music today.
He was very relational. He was not only teaching his students, and he wasn't just pushing his knowledge on the kids. He knew that there was a great blessing for him to get to know his students. It was reciprocal.
It was great to sing with other kids who were really good, some of them really, really good. It brought all of us up to a different level, and I realized how great it would be to work with other people who are really good at what they do. That was one of the other things I learned in choir.
He really got us. And he made it so that we could shine. If there was the smallest interest, he was there to help us bring it out and do something with it.
He created the habit in me of studying music, learning music quickly. And because of that, I've had a good time. I've had a good time and I've worked.
I mean, because he's obviously done a lot for me. I'm a musician, I'm a teacher, I'm a music educator, I teach other teachers. How could I say anything but thank you?
I certainly had a lot of great teachers over the years, but Fred's the only really special one that made a mark that has shaped a life.
I'm so glad that I have been able to give part of my life to teaching and learning from those that I engaged myself with while I was here for those 5 years. What a blessing. What a blessing.